Hi everyone, this is the Lady Strange. Welcome to another overall collective energetic reading. So this may apply for this current week, which is starting today, which is May 17th of 2026 and goes to the end of this week, which would be May 23rd of 2026. Or it is if this finds you at another point in the near future or even further down the road than that. This may apply to you. Each of the readings on there, whether they're weekly or overall, have energies. I know wisdom, guidance for when they're meant to find, whom they're meant to find, and may resonate with. That's how my messages are. That's how my guides, my gifts, and what I connect with in the universe itself does. Real messages for the real life experiences, whether it is a good, bad, or a marriage of both. Life is both light and dark, dark and light, and often a marriage of both. It's all about perspective and perception. And of course, hence the weather gray outside, but also beautiful temperature. And look at this beautiful woodsy backyard of mine. I'm not a garden witch, but I do work with herbs and things like that. But I'm much better working with things after they pass. I'm not a gardener, but I do like my forested backyard. So yeah. So enough about that. So the reading this week is again just energies, guidance, what to be mindful, aware of to have an effective, empowered week, or when you find this experience or ties into the current whole of your experience in life. So, decks is step forth this week. The tarot is Tarot Volatile, one of my favorite indie tarot decks. She is amazing and worth the investment. I find such beautiful messages, imagery each time I pick her up. A deck that speaks of ancient wisdom, but also applies to the current things on here. So to say, the magic and the mundane, they're all the same for myself. And that's relatively how it is. You find the magic and spirituality, but you root in reality and your life experience, because we're all watching this, unless you're spirit, of course, are all humans. So yes, make sure that you are tending to your day-to-day and material life experience as life comes first and your humanity, but marry in that magic things and the spirituality. And if you're not a practitioner or whatever your spiritual path is, that's fine. But there is magic to be found and can be brought into everyday moments and experiences to find fulfillment, truth, and strength and inspiration. And with that being said, the companion oracles are two Syrian shadow decks. The first one is from the New Haunted Cottage oracle, which of course I have all his decks. Amazing creator. I just received it yesterday. I already did my own, thing interview with it. So I felt like it stepped forth and goes appropriately with the colorations and the energies and aestheticism and messages and wisdom of the Tarot Volatile. And of course, no surprise with the appearance, Haunted Manor Oracle, my most favorite treasured oracle of my collection, my extensive ever-growing collection. So with that being said, in this rambling message, which again, if you bear with me or you watch this, it's much appreciated. The algorithm doesn't find me favorable, and I don't get much, traffic, but who does watch this, I value. So thank you. And with that being said, so we got 3 cards this week that came up and an oracle card for each. So again, if this imagery, especially one of these kind of triggers you or does so, fast forward or look at it from a different perspective or just turn off. It's what works for each of us and what resonates. Central card that came out first, again, the Tarot Volatile gave me the messages and I said spirit. So this is one of the expansion cards. I included almost all of the cards from the Tarot Volatile in the expansion pack when I got it. There's a few that I didn't and resonate with, but honestly about 90 98%. So again, she's a big chunky monkey deck. But Apotheosis. So this is Apotheosis, which is an alternate card from the deck that relates to Judgment, I believe. Yes, so number 20 in the Major Arcana. So that relates to the traditional aspects of Judgment. So that's the central message this week. So centrally, that is Apotheosis is ascension. It is higher energy and higher vibration. Not high vibes only type of thing or positive vibes only. No, it's about embracing the truth of experience, wisdom, the lessons we learn, we move through as people in our relationships, our experiences, our hardships, our celebrations, and finding the victory. But it's learning, it's observing, learning, and bringing perspective through your perceptions of life itself, reality, the world within ourselves, and the worlds outside of ourselves, and the worlds of others, as everything is interconnected in some shape or form. I'm not one to believe in certain things with that, but many things are. After all, we're all walking this earth, we're all on this planet, we're all breathing, the air, interacting with the plants, the energies, and energies of others can affect us, as can ours, and our experiences can help to change not only our own personal reality, but that of others. So apotheosis is rising above the hardships and moving through, embracing your inner power, your spirituality, your guides, your wisdom, your truth, and finding a better version of yourself and helping those around you that truly matter and focusing on that. But your own growth, your own experience. That's a big thing of the current message right now, is this collective that I read for and connect with has achieved so much through hard work, wisdom, and moving through it at no matter what speed it is. Things find you with the right divine timing. And with that being said, and it's also about path working. It's also about giving grace and compassion to yourself, to others, and of course, honestly, without sounding selfish, maybe it is, one should be focusing on themselves to help shape the reality of integrating things and moving through and healing and growth. This world is often ever difficult and changing, and we know it's just going to get harder. It's just a reality of things, but how can we rise above it? How can we do better for ourselves and our experiences and make our personal worlds and those of us around us, or even overall, a better place and a better existence? Everything is a contribution. So apotheosis, rise above. If you're a left-hand path practitioner like myself, you'll be familiar with that term, especially if you read or have read any of Michael W. Ford's amazing stuff. So yeah. And the other cards that came out is, this deck has, the Tarot Volatile has 5 suits. So this is, instead of the 4, so this is the Queen of Vessels from the extra suit. Since she's a very alchemical deck, she's full of esoteric messages, energies, wisdom, and emotional, mental, magical, spiritual, and just the human life experience alchemy. She's a very alchemical deck, and of the psychological of the mind, but marrying the magic and the mundane, the spiritual with the real life and experience, and bring it down to earth. So this is the Queen of Vessels, or also known in alchemical world as the White Queen. So vessels do have to do with, just like the Queen of Cups and the Cup suit, have to do with emotional energy. She sits in this collective because of the apotheosis and what you've already so much achieved. You need to recognize that. That's the message that the guides are telling me, my guides are indicating on here, that you need to realize how far you've actually come across in your own experience, and use that to fuel yourself. I don't edit my videos. What you see is what you get. Maybe that's why things are the way they are. But to be honest, the Queen of Vessels, she's come to the point of the alchemical experience before the King of Vessels, of that she's an integral stage of sitting between the worlds. the spiritual, and the everyday, the experiential of saint, the observer, she who has perceives saints but can bring them into perspective, she who is silent, she who is sensitive and feels and brings so much to reality and experiences, and is a integral part of this. So you as this collective and the energies that you bring to this current reading, your experience, and overall throughout your life and into the foreseeable future, as I say, that's all we have is the here and now and of the foreseeable future, is that sit and be present with yourself. Acknowledge how far you've come. Know, feel the truth, find what your apotheosis of rising above with the wisdom that you've had. This collective I read for, much like myself, as I'm part of it, has experienced a lot and continues to have a lot of adversity and challenges, but continues to learn and grow through it with grace. Sometimes much better than others are able to handle. That's part of the message. And this is also it. This is because this collective puts in the hard work, has been and continues to put in the hard work with patience, diligence. The pentacles or coins or discs are all about the earthly things, the material, the tangible, that is work, effort, studying, learning, our jobs, our careers, our homes, our relationships, our finances, but what we can apply, our efforts and our energies, and bring into practical energy with our resources. So this collective continues to, the message is continue your path, your hard work, using your resources, your wisdom, and embracing them. How you're working on yourself and you're helping those around you, and how you inspire them, how you bring all aspects of yourself and truth, and how you allow that to integrate within yourself and your inner world. What you know is true, what helps you to rise above in a healthy, empowered, effective way, but in reality, everything happens is a lesson for us. There is something to take away, even in the hardest moments. But that you use that to your advantage. Don't let it be a disadvantage. Your patience and diligence is actually one of the inspiring things for others. But what are you continuing to want to work on, craft for your life, your current experience, and your foreseeable future? And what do you want to craft and bring into your life, your world, and to shape it? To marry in the intuition and the knowledge with the hard work you're putting in, and know that you have made so many improvements. Now, lastly, the first oracle is Chasm from the Haunted Cottage. Of course, look at that. His decks are just so beautiful and resonant. With that, and myself and my energy and my aestheticism and my magic and my practice, but also leaves so much up to the intuition, the guidance, the evocation and invocation of energy, thought, experience, and ways to look at different saints and how they actually pair with that. So I'm looking forward to building a relationship with Haunted Cottage, just like I have with this one, Haunted Manor, as we said. And this is Graveyard. So again, you see he has a certain aestheticism about his stuff. His artwork and decks are just amazing. Oh, and by the way, that deck, Haunted Cottage, is actually a mass market deck. This one's an indie. So the tarot and this one are indies, and this one is a mass market, just for your reference if you're interested. And so with the Graveyard, lay your fears to rest. So with the chasms are unknown. That is basically the underworld energies. That is our subconscious. The way our minds and fears play tricks on us. Anxiety of not having enough. How others perceive us or make us feel. The past experiences and relationships. How we are unique compared to others. It can be, and we can feel worlds away from others, even when we are surrounded by many others, because of our uniqueness, our gifts of being connected to more than that what is obvious and seen. This collective is not surface level, but this collective is also willing as best as they can to move through their underworld and the subconscious and the way the world presents itself. Working on our inner world is the best way we can help to improve our experiences, as that is we're all responsible for ourselves and accountability and just helping to aid ourselves and therefore aiding others, not being a complete martyr, so to say. And of course, there is always a way around or across the chasm. You just have to be creative and move through it, just like the Queen of Vessels has learned and continues to learn and find that connection and guidance and the ability to rise above challenges through hard work, diligence, patience, effort, but being in reality. So embrace the unknown and let your fears, basically, as this says, let your fears rest. Or let your fears rest, as I was being guided towards. Move through the uncertain like the chasm. Continue to do so. That's all we can do, is you can move through. Don't bypass. Sometimes exploring your chasm is the best thing that you can do to heal the past and integrate what is truly makes you whole. This is all about this collective currently, and what this applies to is saying, continue to ascend, continue to be the best version of yourself, of human, and for your relationships, and show up. Each of us have different experiences and obtained different points of wisdom, no matter how young or how old we are or how we identify or what our magical practices are. We're sensitive, we see the truth, we feel, we value relationship and connection and go beyond the surface level because we're willing to face the chasms of life and the darkness. But the darkness holds a lot of light, and the light holds darkness. They're both. But through diligence, patience, and effort, continue to craft what you need to craft and to help yourselves to survive, thrive, and provide for that which really matters in your life and where you give your time and energy to, like that 8 of Coins and Pentacles, and let your fears lay to rest because you've got this. And that is not a thing in this, that's just an affirmation that my guides and just overall saying, you got this, you can make it through. You've done it in the past, you will continue to do so, no matter what your pace is. You're doing the best you can. As long as you do that and you show up for yourself in the best way you can, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise, then that you're not doing enough the right way, that's on them. They're just doing projections. So with that being said, I thank you if you made it this far to watching my rambles. I hope this all finds you well, and please comment below if any of this resonates with you. You got any questions, any comments? I certainly appreciate the comments and reactions and the likes, as it does push these videos out there and it helps others to find the messages when they're meant to find them. And please like, comment, and subscribe, as they say, and stay strange.